My name is Tyler Emerson and I am the Greystone Executive Officer. It is my pleasure to introduce Commander David Bailey, founder and Executive Director of the Greystone Preparatory School at Schreiner University.
I have to turn the page, wait a minute. I assume everybody has made their bets. How long it's going to take for me before I get a little choked up? If you thought the House Speaker was bad, you ain't seen nothing yet. So, with that being said, let me start with some rather poignant remarks, and I mean poignant because I wrote them. Welcome to what we have come to refer to as an evening for Bill. Not going to be easy. No, I'm good. Tonight we are joined by some very special guests, in particular Janie Crum and her family. Dr. and Mrs. Tim Summerlin, President of Schreiner University. I don't see Bill Muse yet, but I know he's coming. We also have tonight current and former board and advisory board members, and if you'd please stand. And I'd like to express my sincere thanks to all the friends of Greystone who were able to join us, because tonight you're going to witness a seamless turnover from the chairman to the interim chairman to ensure that the Greystone program will never be without a steady hand on the rudder. And you will also observe the designation of a new title, that of Chairman Emeritus. So, with that being said, let the games begin. Bill, you're welcome. Greystone was originally a one-man show, in need of a great many things when you came along. Thanks to you, Greystone attracted the talents and skill sets we desperately needed to enable Greystone to grow and flourish. Not for us, but for those who aspire to serve our nation as academy-trained and educated leaders. It was not for them and their dreams that you became a builder of bridges between Greystone and Schreiner University, between Greystone and the academies, and Greystone and several ROTC programs around the country. Let me introduce you to the bridge builder. This is a poem written by William Allen Drumgoll. This poem struck me when I first read it because it struck me as a story of Colonel Crum and his relationship with Greystone. The poem will be read by Mr. Hank Moody, Greystone Financial Director. Hank?
He said he would choke up. I'm not sure I won't either, so that's why I'm reading this poem. An old man going a lone highway came at the evening cold and gray. The chasm vast and deep and wide, through which was flowing a sullen tide. The old man crossed in the twilight dim. The sullen stream had no fears for him, but he turned when safe on the other side and built a bridge to span the tide. Old man, said a fellow pilgrim near, you're wasting strength with building here. Your journey will end with the ending day. You never again must pass this way. You have crossed the chasm deep and wide. Why build you the bridge at even tide? The builder lifted his old gray head. Good friend, in the path I have come, he said, there followeth after me today a youth whose feet must pass this way. This chasm that has been naught to me, to that fair-haired youth may a pitfall be. He too must cross in the twilight dim. Good friend, I am building the bridge for him.
And now you see why I couldn't read that. Bill, in my opinion, you are the Greystone Bridge builder. And you have built this incredible opportunity, not for yourself or for recognition, but for them, those who aspire to follow in your footsteps to become leaders within our armed forces. And for that, Bill, we are truly grateful. This is also why we have chosen to call this event an evening for Bill. So sit back, relax, and try to enjoy this modest tribute to you. With that being said, please let me introduce you a former Greystone board member, Mr. Gary Lundeen. Gary is a Naval Academy graduate from the great class of 1975 and a Marine Corps officer. Gary has created a poem as a tribute to your career. It's a beautiful poem that reflects upon all that you have done in service for others, but for tonight, he will only read that which describes your Greystone contributions. Gary?
Thanks, Dave, but not to be an affront to poets, it's a verse that I've written. We're here this evening to honor and celebrate Big Bill Crum for his 9 years of service as chairman of Greystone at Schreiner University. Now you notice that I called Bill Big Bill. Well, Big Bill is an Air Force fighter pilot. And there isn't any such thing as a former pilot or a was or ex. He's always a fighter pilot. After earning their wings, newbie pilots go to their first squadron. And when they report there, they're bubbas, which is their fellow pilots. They're the ones that assign the call signs. And they assigned Bill the call sign of Big Bill. Now, Big Bill, we've captured your 22 years of Air Force service and your 9 years of service here at Greystone in a verse of 8 stanzas of 8 lines each, but I'm only going to read 2 of those stanzas this evening. You can go over to yonder building over here in the conference room and you can read it in its entirety. And I love saying that word yonder. You Zoomies love it. Off we go into the wild blue yonder. Now this verse is, funnily enough, titled Big Bill. It's dedicated to William Penn Big Bill Crum, Colonel, U.S. Air Force, retired. That's dedicated this evening at Greystone Schreiner University. And so the story goes. There's a Big Bill fighter jock, which is Bill. Class of West Point 56, our Bill. Opted Air Force with his peers, flew jets 2 in 20 years, with a smile twixt his ears. Didn't you, Bill? He served at Greystone Prep School, Chairman Bill. Teaching young gun fighting leaders, Mentor Bill. Now he watches while at ease as his prodigies he sees, on guard in air, on land and seas. Thank you, Bill. Here's to Bill, Bill, Bill. Big Bill Crum, Big Bill Crum. Fighter, Wing King, Colonel Crum. Thank you, Chairman, Wing King, Big Bill Crum, for your 9 years of dedicated service here at Greystone, and still more to come. Now, to carry on, I have the pleasure to introduce 2 members of the Greystone class of 2016, Carly Ashley and Monty Kerner, who've created a review of the many accomplishments of Big Bill and his board of directors during Bill's tenure as chairman. Please welcome Carly and Monty.
When I think of Colonel Crum, I think of my definition of a leader. A leader needs to be innovative, compassionate, and humble. They should strive not to put themselves in the spotlight, but rather to give the individuals they are leading a knee up so that they can reach their full potential. Leadership means responsibility, and it also means sacrifice. But when you have a passion to lead in the right way, that in itself is a reward. Colonel Crum not only exemplified leadership by serving his country, but also has been a tremendous leader over the course of 9 years as our board chairman. Colonel Crum has quietly and methodically led the evolution of Greystone from a small, struggling program to the fantastic institution that it is today.
Prior to assuming his position as chairman, Greystone was for the most part a one-man show. The board of directors consisted of 6 members who were scattered around the world, either at the academy or on active duty, making board meetings impossible. Shortly after volunteering his time, Colonel Crum was convinced that he should take over as chairman and create a new and more local board of friends and Greystone parents, thus pointing Greystone in a new direction.
With this talent pool, combined with Colonel Crum's leadership and oversight, the Greystone program has surpassed many milestones. Therefore, it is only fitting to provide a brief review of the major steps that he took to make this metamorphosis possible. Under Colonel Crum's infallible support and membership, Greystone has re-engineered the bylaws, mission, and vision statements, negotiated between the Big Trio, or the 3 major academies, and the Greystone Shriner University Agreement to legitimize the legal, financial, and ethical integrity of the business. He has established a strong relationship with both the Military Academy and the Air Force Academy, which led Greystone to appearing on the short list of approved schools for sponsored candidates at the 3 major academies. He created the Greystone Scholarship Funds, General J. Kelly Fund for Air Force Falcons, Commander Jerry Buck Fund for Naval Academy Scholars, General Dave Palmer Fund for West Point AOG Scholars, and a special fund for in-need students, which has made Greystone possible for over 57 total candidates. He also initiated the creation of the Patriot Scholar Program, where individual eligible students can receive 4-year interest-free loans to be repaid with a starter loan that they received during their junior years at the academy. Colonel Crum saw the need for such a program and is working diligently to identify a lender that will support this much-needed opportunity.
Colonel Crum has initiated the expansion of the Greystone staff and created the executive committee to meet the needs of the ever-growing program with swift and deliberate decision-making. He has expanded the relationship between Shriner University by merging the freshman seminar with the character development and leadership training course, as well as converging the new Shriner Rangers course with the Greystone Physical Fitness Program and Shriner University's exercise science faculty and facilities. He has enhanced the murder board process, with students experience a dress rehearsal of their academy nomination interviews with a committee of local leaders. This year, 100% of Greystone students earned at least 1 nomination, reflecting the success of the program. This helps each student develop as a scholar, leader, and athlete, which are all traits necessary to be successful as a commissioned officer and at the United States Service Academies.
He also acted as the driving force behind changing Greystone's status from a Maryland not-for-profit institution to a Texas not-for-profit institution, an arduous 3-year process. He initiated the search and began negotiations for a second Greystone campus, located in Laurinburg, North Carolina, at St. Andrews University, to facilitate a broader range of candidates east of the Mississippi. He solidified the agreement between Greystone and Shriner University and the University of Texas Army ROTC, a process that's been in the making for 8 years. This agreement will allow us to provide a true ROTC program on the Shriner campus for the first time since the 1970s, starting next fall. And not to mention his continuous support of the Greystone alumni with his annual visits to the Military Academy at West Point and the Air Force Academy at Colorado Springs. As a West Point grad and retired Air Force officer, Colonel Crum is able to administer the ceremonial oath of office, which is a special moment representing the link between Greystone and the academies. Under Colonel Crum's leadership as chairman, and Greystone is no longer focused on simply getting candidates into the academies, but getting them through.
Under Colonel Crum's chairmanship, 270 candidates have gone through the program, and 267 are either commissioned officers at the academy or enrolled in ROT programs around the country. To date, Greystone students have been able to record the highest graduation rate of any service academy prep program. This rate is 92%, a rate even higher than the academy's own graduation rates. These, of course, are just numbers that are representations of Colonel Crum's success, but each number is an individual who had a broken dream, like Colonel Crum helps mend back together. These men and women are not only living this dream, but living out the passion that Colonel Crum has bestowed on them.
Colonel Crum, Greystone does not build bridges or skyscrapers. They build leaders. Through your direct and indirect involvement in the program here at Greystone, you've created the opportunity for those of us who did not want to be defined by an academy rejection letter. Thank you.
Colonel Crum, we are your living tributes, and beyond half of those who have been fortunate enough to experience the Greystone that you have built, thank you, because we will never forget what you have done for us. You next, Commander. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and great privilege to introduce to you the great Vice Chairman, Mr. Jack Tier. Mr. Tier will now execute the Greystone change of command from Colonel Crum to Commander Bailey. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jack Tier.
I sure hope my notes are here. My role is primarily technical, but in spite of that, I have lots of really neat, profound stuff to tell you, but the 6 people who just preceded me already said all of it, in one way or another. But to get on with the program, as we've heard here tonight, Colonel Crum, through his leadership, has been able to maneuver Greystone towards success after success to the point where we are now. Through his leadership, as it's been said earlier, from a mom and pop outfit to become the most successful service academy prep program in the United States, anywhere. And Bill has done a fantastic job as our chairman leading up to that. It's been my honor and privilege to serve as your vice chairman and to support the program that you've led this entire time. I can say that it has never, ever been dull or boring. I wish I could have seen some of that, but it didn't at any rate. On the business. Greystone, like many organizations, is like a ship at sea. Always in need of a steady hand on the wheel to make sure that we stay in the right direction. During the past 9 years, Bill has provided that steady hand. We have been in the right direction. He's led us through calm and oftentimes rough seas, and had a steady hand on the destiny of this program for 9 years. Now, Colonel Crum, if you please, if you would stand.
Yes, but just real quick, I had to have adult supervision, and that's what I've got here. As you know, and I'm sure they know,
gavel represents justice and responsibility in our society. Those who wield the gavel are expected to have the wisdom to make the right decisions, never abuse the process. During your leadership, you have done all of this. Now, Colonel, please take the gavel. Commander Bailey, will you please rise? As the Vice Chairman, I ask that you publicly pledge to assume the duties and responsibilities as the Greystone Interim Chairman. And you continue to lead the Greystone Board of Directors with a wisdom and dedication, as did Colonel Crum. Will you serve Greystone and the Board of Directors as the interim chairman until a suitable chairman is identified?
I will.
Please pass the gavel to...
Congratulations, sir.
Colonel Crum, the lectern is yours.
Make it short and sweet.
At the clock. Will this be my last time to, I'll have one more?
Yes. Trust me. I'm the interim chairman.
All right. Well, I believe that one of the things that I would like to pass on to the interim chairman, a couple things. Guidance from the one who's been there, done that. Listen to the people. When you're talking with others, listen to what they have to say. Keep communication open. Don't laugh. It's not polite. Keep communication open among the board members and the staff. Stay loose. Keep a sense of humor. Finally, never forget, when you're making decisions, the mission of Greystone.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's my privilege to introduce to you the new and interim Greystone Board Chairman, Commander David Bailey. Commander Bailey, the lectern is yours. You have 2 minutes.
Get comfortable, we're going to be here a while. I want you to know, in the creation of this program, I had more fun than you can ever imagine. Putting words in other people's mouths is like a varsity sport for me. And to hear Jack talk like he's a sailor was priceless. Ship at sea, hand on the rudder. I love it. So never let it be said that I can't have my way every now and then. So, according to several reputable internet sources, that's like an oxymoron, emeritus is used as a term of respect and honor following many years of successful service provided to an institution, is usually joined with the original title to identify a new position and status. This designation is applied following completion of tenure in office. It is a title that is afforded to an individual to recognize the previous office held and that their service was of such nature that they are honored with the distinction emeritus. When you think about what Bill has done for Greystone as our board chairman, there is no denying that he has left his mark on all of us. In particular, Bill has been more than just an administrative head. He's been a visionary, a motivator, a peacemaker, a peacekeeper, an ambassador, an elder statesman, and regarding any time Jack and I get together with him, he is our adult supervision. But always, always, Bill is the precise definition of a gentleman. By your gentle hand and quiet approach to leadership, you have taught us all that excellence is within us. As long as we slow down, we can grasp the brass ring and make our dreams come true. Bill, will you please stand? Will the Greystone Board of Directors please rise? Directors, it is my first act as interim chairman that I propose the designation of Chairman Emeritus be bestowed upon William P. Crum. Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye. All opposed? Motion is approved by unanimous vote of the board. Congratulations, Chairman Emeritus. Chairman Emeritus, would you like to make a brief comment? I'm on a clock here.
Remember, to say I'm overwhelmed is grossly inadequate. About 3 weeks ago, I asked Commander Bailey about how many folks are going to be at this ceremony. He thought, I think about 12, 14. Now you know what I've had to put up with for 9 years. A preface. Somewhere in my background, I picked up a malady. It has to do with an emotional choke. And this group right here in front say, oh, come on, man up. If I could control it, I would. But it's kind of like a sneeze. I just can't stop it. I do have one request, that when this happens and I choke, don't get out your cell phones and call 911, because this too shall pass. Commander Bailey gave a definition of emeritus, and there are several. He happened to make up one, I think. The Webster definition, very short: retired from active service, usually for age, but retaining one's rank or title. Now that hurts. That really hurts. But doesn't say anything about not retaining or staying in place. Janie and I are going to stay here in this town for as long as we can. You know, over the past 9 years, I've counted up about 300 young men and women that have come into the Greystone, young men and women who are the best of the best. And watching them mature and realize the fruits of their efforts has been an inspiration to me. You'll see them out here now. They have renewed my faith that the future of our country and the military will be in good shape and well led. Not yet. One of the things that these young folks go through in the preparation for their nominations and appointments is a murder board. And I would like to have those who are in the audience, who have so graciously helped Greystone and helped prepare these young men and women over the past 9 years. And the murder boards, I don't like that word, it has a bad connotation, but it is not an inquisition, it's a help. I'm trying to help these young men learn how to, and women, present themselves. So those who have been on the murder board, please stand. Clear that, clear that. Thank you very much. Believe me, you will be called upon forever and ever and ever. There are a lot of words spoken about the progress of Greystone. And you all are mature enough and understand the fact that no one person does anything by themselves. With that said, Greystone would not have the success that it has without the support of Schreiner University, Dr. Summerlin and his staff, in supplying the classes with an academic program and an atmosphere conducive to growth. So for Schreiner's success and help in getting these young men and women into their appointments and their commissions, I want to thank you very much, sir. The group has been already recognized, but let's do it again. Would the board of directors that are here please stand? 1, 2, 3, 4. There is one who has come on board recently, Admiral Tillman Payne from Alpharetta, Georgia, who, rightly so, sent a very, very wonderful note but couldn't make it. Board, please remain standing. Sorry. If you can't, then just kind of hold on to a chair or something. Remain standing. Anyway, so he couldn't come, but there is your board who has helped me considerably, and of course, Commander Bailey and the staff. There is an advisory board that assists all of us. Would you all please stand and remain standing? The advisory board, please. Good. These wonderful individuals supply, I think what Bailey said, or maybe Carl said, the maturity and the rudder for the Greystone program. I might get to that in just a moment. That's the advisory board. The ladies auxiliary, Dee Elliott, oh golly, 4 years ago, something like that, saw a need for Greystone to have a ladies auxiliary. And she so created that and is now running that program. Would you please stand, all the ladies, and remain standing? All the ladies, there we go. Virginia is on the board. She's the secretary. I get to remind her all the time. She gets some minutes. Okay, so we've got the ladies auxiliary, the board. They're the support of the staff. Would you please stand up, the staff, please? Executive director. Brenda.
Yes.
Okay, Brenda. Danielle. Tom. Portman. And Skip. Rich. Y'all are standing well. This is the Greystone team. Promise I wouldn't do that.
Well, if you thought that was fun, strap yourselves in. It's about to get crazy. Bill, clearly by what you have seen and heard tonight, we think the world of our new Chairman Emeritus. But what we may think pales in comparison to those who have had the personal relationship with you, those who you specifically helped to make their dream come true. I think you need to hear directly from those with whom you have made a difference through your contributions over the past 9 years. So let me tell some stories. In August of 2008, a young man from Georgetown, Texas, joined the Greystone team and stated his ambition was to earn his appointment to the United States Air Force Academy. This was a different approach because prior to that moment, Greystone had never had a student go to the Air Force Academy. With the oversight and encouragement of Colonel Crum, Greystone history was made. And in May of 2013, Holden Simmons walked the stage at the United States Air Force Academy. Ladies and gentlemen, First Lieutenant Holden Simmons, United States Air Force.
That's not right.
Well, thanks for the introduction, Commander Bailey. I heard you tearing up out there before I came in, so I'm getting a little teary too. Colonel Crum, words cannot express how excited I am to be here right now, to be here for this moment and to send you off. Commander Bailey, I found out about this on the drive here 2 hours ago, and I was worried about what I was going to say, but I realized there's so many things I could say about Colonel Crum, so this is probably going to be pretty easy. I thought I'd start with a story. The moment that sticks out in my mind, actually one of the strongest moments from my time here at Greystone, and that was at my murder board, where I don't remember any of the questions. I don't remember really who was even there besides you and you, but I do remember Colonel Crum absolutely destroying me at the end of it and telling me I needed to use less hand gestures while I was talking, so I'm back here now. But I remember just being humiliated and then going off 2 weeks later to my actual interview with the senator, and it was so easy. I walked in, none of the questions, of course, in the murder board were actually asked to me at that interview. I didn't even think they asked me questions. They were just excited I was there. But that's just, it sticks out of me so much, right? It was just an example. I went to Greystone in 2009, and there were, sorry, I thought he was gesturing. There were 9 of us that ended up graduating, and I was the only one who got accepted to the Air Force Academy. I also got accepted to the Naval Academy, and here I was at a school surrounded by squids, or wannabe squids, and I went and I toured the Naval Academy, I toured the Air Force Academy, and I knew what I wanted to do. I knew I wanted to go to the Air Force Academy, but just knowing Colonel Crum and knowing what Air Force officers could be like, made that decision to go to a school where I knew absolutely nobody instead of going to a school where I could just hang out with all my friends from last year. Made it so much easier. So, Colonel Crum, thank you so much for everything you've done for us, for my class, for all the future classes. Greystone wouldn't be where it is today, and it wouldn't be doing as well as it is without you. So, congratulations again. Thank you so much.
In August of 2009, Greystone was joined by a young man from Maryland who aspired nothing more than to attend the Naval Academy and swim for Navy. However, after meeting Bill and hearing about the many stories of life on the Hudson, this young man changed his dream from the Naval Academy to West Point. I'm never getting over that. And in May of 2014, he made Greystone history by being the first Greystone student to earn his West Point appointment and graduate. He was administered the commissioning oath by Bill on the promenade of the Eisenhower Hall. Ladies and gentlemen, First Lieutenant Brendan Lorton, United States Army.
Thank you for having me here tonight, and this was an extreme pleasure for me to be here. So thank you, Greystone family, for having me. So if I would look back and see the legacy of what Colonel Crum did for Greystone, Lao Tzu has a, Chinese philosopher, by the way, if you didn't know that, has a quote. It says, "A leader is best when people barely know he exists. When his work is done, his aim is fulfilled, they will say we did it ourselves." And that's essentially what Colonel Crum did for me, and as well as the other Greystone people who I was with. So back at Greystone, we always thought Colonel Crum, Commander Bailey, and everyone else smoked cigars, drank a little bit, drank, ate donuts, and then asked weird questions on Saturday and did a white glove inspection, which I'm pretty sure you guys have tomorrow, from what I've heard from Sergeant Major. So when I graduated Greystone, and when I went to West Point, it seemed like, wow, you guys actually do a lot in these kids' lives. Just a short story, I got in a little trouble with integrity when I was in Greystone. And could have been kicked out, almost got my appointment, rejected. I was going to swim at West Point, so like my whole world was coming down. And Colonel Crum stuck his arm out and said, "Hey, let me fix you," and he fixed me. So looking back, he made that blueprint for me to succeed, so that when I was done, I could say, I did it myself, but really it was Colonel Crum who helped me along the way to give me that blueprint for success. So round of applause to Colonel Crum.
I told you this was going to be fun. We're not over. In 2009, Greystone was also introduced to a young Texan who was in need of guidance and motivation to achieve his goal of attending the United States Air Force Academy. Although he fell short in his first year at Greystone, he returned as our executive officer the following year and earned his academy appointment. In May of 2015, Colonel Crum administered the oath to this new officer. Ladies and gentlemen, Second Lieutenant Cody Womack, United States Air Force.
Thank you for inviting me here today. Thank you for the introduction, Commander Bailey. Though for those of you who have stood still next to Virginia for more than 10 minutes, you probably already heard an earful about me. But more importantly, thank you for inviting me here tonight to honor a man who's done so much for not only me and everyone in this room, but numerous others that couldn't be here tonight. Colonel Crum, I hope my surprise attendance can just be a small portion of the gratitude I have towards you. So thank you. Sorry about that, premature. Since I arrived here 7 years ago, I've seen Colonel Crum in many roles. First as a grizzled, retired fighter pilot I wanted to someday be, and then as a leader I could admire. But I was one of the lucky few who got to come back for Greystone Round 2. So during that time, we got to know each other a little bit better, and he became more than just a shining example of a leader, but a mentor and a personal supporter that I could rely on. What he's done for me over the years through Greystone as chairman of the board is only matched in what he's also done for me personally, though. After I got rejected my first year, I was obviously pretty down, wasn't sure what I wanted to do. But I spoke with him, and he provided, some support and words of wisdom that helped me stay the course and try again for the second year. And then he continued to help me out even more by that second year, the Air Force Academy Director of Admissions came to see the Academy and see what Greystone was about. And I'm assuming she liked it, given all the foundation students we've had since. And I think that's largely due to what he's done. But what he also did while she was here was speak to her directly and talk to her about me on my behalf. And given how things turned out, I think his words, along with probably a few more blunt ones from Jack Tier, are the reason I was ultimately accepted in the Academy, and I'm now a second lieutenant and soon to be pilot in training. So I just want to say thank you, Colonel Crum, for everything you've done. And I know your time here as chairman of the board's up, but even if you were to walk away, everything you've done would still live on through me and all these other young men and women who are here that you've sent out to serve our country. So your legacy is certainly going to live on no matter what you do. It's going to be far-reaching and alive for countless years to come. Thank you.
I'm kind of enjoying this now, okay? In 2011, a young Texan from San Antonio came to Greystone for the purpose of following in his father's footsteps by earning his appointment to the United States Air Force Academy. In his initial attempt, he fell short, but that did not dissuade him from his goal, and he returned to Greystone the following year as our executive officer. As a Falcon Foundation-sponsored candidate, he excelled as a scholar, athlete, and leader, and in June of 2013, he entered the Air Force Academy. He is currently a junior and will be graduating in May of 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, Cadet Sergeant Howlett Kohig, United States Air Force Academy.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm extremely humbled to be here tonight, especially with some of the other Greystoners who are here. I'm just a cadet, and so I'm just going to get right to it. They kind of said a lot of the same things that you're going to hear about, that Colonel Crum has contributed a lot to this program, and specifically to me, has contributed a lot. Where it first started for me was back in junior year of high school. I wasn't anything stellar in high school. I was trying to major in football, which for 5'6", kind of short, small guy like me, it's not gonna happen. But so what basically happened for me was I was at an academy function, and my brother went to West Point, so the academy's parents club was doing this thing, and I noticed this guy in the corner in the back wearing a lapel pin, West Point alumni, and so we went over, my father and I, and we introduced ourselves, and he told us. He was very interested in me, and I was asking a lot of questions about my future, what I wanted to do, and all that. Obviously, just on the spot, really invested in me. And so I told him about how, I hope to get into the academy, I hope to go to one of the academies, anything like that. Told him about my grades, and he kind of registered all the information, and he looked at me with a little bit of a smirk, and he said, hold on. Turned around, reached into his bag, and handed me, well, before he handed me, he said, I'm not really supposed to do this, but I'm gonna do it anyway. And handed me a DVD as a Greystone promotion. At the time, I didn't really think anything of it, and so I just kind of went home and watched it. I was like, okay, well, if I have to go down that road, And anyway, so during the summer, I was coming back from San Angelo. I wasn't too impressed with ROTC program out there from what I wanted to do, not to speak badly of San Angelo. And on our way back, we were passing through Shriner, and so we said, well, we'll give it a try. And there we stopped, and for the first time I met Commander Bailey, and he welcomed me in, and the rest is pretty much history. From there on out, I didn't get into the academy my first time around. Came to Greystone, was kind of average here at Greystone my first year, and then I also received a thin light envelope like Holden and Cody after that first year. Came back as a Falcon Scholar, and then finally got into the Air Force Academy. The big thing that kind of has happened for me is I've had a relatively successful cadet career after a lot of failure, trying to get in, and then a lot of failure my freshman and sophomore year. This year, I've been truly blessed with cadet leadership. Take it for what it's worth. And then in the fall, I'll also be, right now I'm currently a group superintendent, which is what all this fancy stuff means. And then next semester, I'll be a cadet squadron commander, which will be the upper diversity of 100 cadets. And so what I'm trying to convey with all that is not really boost myself up, but a small gesture of that DVD from Colonel Crum is what really changed my track. Had I not received that, had I not been familiarized with Greystone, who knows what I would be doing today. I've had the opportunity to influence a lot of others, just myself. But the point of all that being, because Colonel Crum influenced me, I've been able to impact others as well. And so, with Colonel Crum, after his 22 years of service, no one could have asked him to do anything more. Wing commander, fighter pilot, West Point grad, as y'all know. And yet he continues to serve up to this day by influencing us, and our impacts on the world also is part of his legacy. So Colonel Crum, I want to say thank you. I appreciate it.
I'm really enjoying this. Oh, where'd it go? Oh yeah, there we go. In 2013, Greystone was joined by yet another Texan who grew up knowing Colonel Crum. As he watched her grow, he and his classmate, Lieutenant General Dave Palmer, former superintendent at the Military Academy at West Point, convinced this young woman to deviate from her father's intended plan of attending the Naval Academy. This full-court press not only changed the trajectory of this future leader, it inspired her to dream of crazy things like flying helicopters, much to her mother's chagrin. Although her dream of attending West Point was diverted to Texas A&M, she is currently a junior and will be graduating in December of 2017. Ladies and gentlemen, Cadet Staff Sergeant Emily Bailey, Texas A&M Corps of Cadets.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my extreme honor to talk to you this evening about a man who, I'm already crying, great, just Bailey. Talk to you about this man who means a great deal to each and every one of us. A man who has taught many of us life values that have turned into core values we hold dear to every day. A man who has inspired most of us to become something more than what we originally intended. It's true, I joined Greystone in 2013, like many other students, in order to try again to earn my appointment to the United States Military Academy, much to my father's woe. Taking a step back 2 years before I even decided to apply, before I even earned my thin white envelope, I met Colonel Crum in my father's office. I hadn't been much taller than I was today. But as soon as I walked in the foyer, this giant of a man stood up and said, "Good afternoon, Miss Bailey. You must be the Emily I've heard so much about." Our encounters were much like this in the beginning of our relationship, until one day my father had to step out and Colonel Crum turned to me and said, "Sit down." As I did so, we began a conversation that would impact my future. He spoke to me about his time at West Point, and as an officer in the Air Force, I was hooked. Before this conversation, I was still going strong about being a United States Naval pilot. But then that night, at my family's dinner table, I announced I was interested in the Army and pursuing an appointment to the United States Military Academy. I can remember the shocked face of my sister. My mother had to do a double take. My father, well, let's just say he hasn't gotten over the shock. That's when he first started sprouting his gray hairs. This dream was further instilled when we traveled to West Point together at the beginning of my junior year. My first time to see the United States Military Academy, as well as my first taste of wild turkey, the whiskey, Mom. Colonel Crum was the torchlight to my dream. He handed me his wisdom and his never-ending encouragement to pursue my dreams. When I received my first thin white envelope, I wasn't disappointed, I was angry. To this day, I still haven't read past the line saying I wasn't good enough. So I decided to join Greystone for the coming year in order to try again. Try as hard as I did, I was given another roadblock that brought me to the core. A shoulder injury that would require intensive surgery and an even more gruesome recovery regimen. I knew I'd lost my chance at West Point, and I felt like it was the end of the world, the end of the road for me.
until after the surgery, while I was walking around in a sling and a little out of it due to the pain medication. Colonel Crum stopped me. He pulled me into his huge arms, and I wept. I wept the tears I was too afraid my classmates would see and judge me for. I was in physical and emotional pain, and he could see it. In those moments, he held me close, and he told me it would be all okay, and that somehow it would work out in the end. I tell you today, Colonel Crum, you were right. I have everything going for me that I couldn't see 2 years ago, and I honestly couldn't be happier with my decision to stay at Texas A&M. You will never know how much it truly meant to me when you pinned on my contract pin after I took my oath, even if you might have nicked me. Your actions have inspired me to take on the same torch you gave me those many years ago, and although different, I hope someday I may inspire someone as you have done for me. Thank you. Thank you for bringing the encouragement and the support of so many dreams. I hope you see the scope of your selfless service to this program and the many lives of young people who want to serve their country in the highest capacity. Thank you.
Bill, never let it be said that you are not admired and respected by those who lead. Never let it be said that you are not loved by those who you invest yourself into. Look around, Bill. They are who and what they are because of Greystone. The Greystone that you have built for them. You didn't hear that. It was for them. There's a line from a Kevin Costner movie that I really like. It's called Fields of Dreams, in which the voice says from the cornfield, "If you build it, they will come." Bill, you built this program into what it is now. And clearly, they have come. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is my great privilege and honor to introduce another man who wrote an incredible letter of recommendation for me many years ago, who continues to serve Greystone on their advisory board as Dee's assistant and bag carrier. Please help me welcome Mr. John Elliott.
Okay. Colonel Crum, through your steadfast leadership and dedication to your country, state, and community, we have a number of tributes honoring and thanking you for your service and leadership to Greystone and your country. Some notable officials have recognized your service. On this table here, I'm not going to read them or present them to you, you can pick them up after, but State Representative Andrew Mirror wrote a resolution, and you'll be honored at the legislature when it next convenes. So you and I probably have a road trip together. Okay. Senator Ted Cruz, Senator John Cornyn, Greg Abbott, our Texas governor, U.S. Representative Lamar Smith. And what I'd like to do, Bill, is read just one of them. And this may get you. Dear Colonel Crum, it is an honor to recognize you and thank you for your years of dedicated service to Greystone Preparatory School. Your work within and on behalf of the Greystone community is a natural extension of your 22 years of distinguished service in the United States Air Force. More than 2 decades ago, you raised your right hand, swearing to uphold the Constitution's promise of liberty, and dedicated yourself to the support of our great nation. Your leadership and contribution during your exemplary career have been a tremendous benefit as your work at Greystone ensures that our nation will continue to be led by military servicemen and women of the highest caliber for many years to come. We forever are indebted to you. As your time at Greystone draws to a close, I congratulate you and your achievements with the school, and I look forward to staying in touch as you transition to the next phase of your life. Please do not hesitate to reach out if I may be assistance. God bless you and your family, and God continues to bless the United States of America. All the best, Senator Ted Cruz. And the other letters pretty much represent what I just read to you. They're over here for your enjoyment, and every word is meaningful. Now, we all thank you for what you've done for Greystone and this country, and that concludes my portion of it, but I'd like now to introduce Dee Elliott, who I know fairly well, and she would like to say a few words.
Good evening. This is so wonderful, and I am so privileged to be here to present some wonderful tokens of our gratitude to Bill. Bill, you've worked so hard for 9 years here at Greystone. Without you, I don't know, this just wouldn't be the same. You have worked so hard for us, and I think we could all say we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for Bill Crum and all he has done for us. And I'm sure the Greystoners are thinking the same thing. So as a token of our gratitude, our love, and our appreciation, I'd like to tell you this is from the whole Greystone family, and we have something I'd like to have these two young gentlemen present to you. Now, we hope you can find a place on a wall somewhere in your home. I'm sure it's crowded, but Janie, hopefully you'll let him hang this somewhere. Okay, and that's not all. Colonel Crum, now we have something that represents the academies, West Point and the Air Force Academy. Since you were at both, there's a flag here that probably has more flight miles than I do, because it went from Kerrville up to West Point. It flew at West Point. This flag then went out to the Air Force Academy. It flew at the Air Force Academy, and now we're presenting it to you. Now it's back in Kerrville, and this is to thank you for not only your service at Greystone, but your service to our country.
Thank you all.
Hey, now, Janie, we want to thank you, because you have allowed Bill to come play at Greystone for 9 years. And I say play because I know it's been hard work, but he's had a lot of fun too. And you've also given him permission to travel with Dave and Jack and be their chaperone, and they needed one, so you were nice enough to let him chaperone. But thank you so much. There's always a great lady behind every great man, as they say, but we think there's a great lady, which is you, equally as great as this great man. Thank you for all you've done, and we have a special gift that we'd like to present to you. And this is love and appreciation from the Greystone family. Now I'd like to introduce our Greystone president, Jack.
On behalf of the past 9 Greystone classes, allow the class of 2016 to present you with a gift to express our sincere thanks and appreciation for making Greystone the most incredible opportunity of our lives thus far. As we move toward our destiny, will we never forget our time at Greystone and how it molded us into the men and women that we are today, ready to serve and to lead. Colonel Crum, thank you, sir.
Thank you. heard what I say about the Greystone and the team that stood up to make all of this happen. But unless you gave me another opportunity, your mistake. I'm trying to think how to say this. A lot of things happened at Greystone, and I think they spent an hour and a half on trying to tell you what they all were, and I am so proud of all those things that Greystone has accomplished. There's one thing, though, that really makes me proud. When I walked through the portals of Greystone, this guy walked up and he said, "Hi, I'm Dave Bailey, Rush Chairman." Bill Crum. From that point on, the Naval Academy graduate of the class of '81 and the old guy, West Point 56, had been working together. And I think very well because of what's happened. But as time went on in these 9 years, I noticed a slight change in Naval Academy graduate David Bailey. Sometime about 6 years ago, if memory serves, I had a mini reunion class come up from generally the San Antonio area for a little reunion in Kerrville. The guest speaker was not available, and I asked Dave if he might say a few words to the group about the Greystone program, which he did. And of course, he's eloquent in the way he speaks. And these are West Point classmates, remember now. They were all standing on both feet, and they weren't doing that. When it was over, the class of 56, West Point, presented Commander Bailey with a banner, class of 56 West Point, which he displays, I can't see it, which he displays in his office. I was going to say proudly, but I'll save that for later on. About 3 years ago, no, 2 years ago, the South Texas West Point Society, which meets in San Antonio, nominated Commander David Bailey to a distinction role as friend of West Point. Now, that might sound trite, but it's not. The superintendent of the military academy sends a signed document which gives the friend of West Point all the honors and privileges of a graduate. So now Bailey's name is etched in history at West Point. You know, it's kind of funny. Funny, ha-ha, just funny. I wonder how many Naval Academy graduates hold the honor and distinction of being a friend of West Point. I don't know, but I'll bet there aren't very many. So, what I'm saying to you all, are you following me? Are you reading what this is going to lead to? This guy who went on a ship and commanded a ship and all that, I think that he's turned a little bit, and now I think that he recognizes the value of West Point and would like to go there again to visit. And I think that really he enjoys going to West Point more than he does to the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. And for that distinction, I am extremely proud. Extremely proud. So, with that said, my friend, thank you all for this. Made my family,
Okay,
and me, go ahead.
Holden, Brendan, Cody, it's your turn. This is our closing.
Colonel Crum, as Chairman Emeritus, thank you, you will not go quietly into the night or fade into the sunset, but rather you will remain the source of guidance, wisdom, and integrity that you have always been for me and so many others. In accordance with the definition, you are allowed and encouraged to retain those duties that you desire to retain. You will be forever kept informed of all things Greystone, and you will be invited to participate in all Greystone events. Colonel Crum, your voice will forever be with the board, and your hope for the future will no doubt guide them.
As you know, Colonel, Greystone does not build skyscrapers, rocket ships, but at Greystone, they build young leaders like me and those before you tonight. You mold them one at a time, and the quality of your work is nothing less than exceptional based on the success of those who have passed through Greystone doors. Colonel Crum, please stand next to the lectern.
Where's the X?
Colonel Crum, I want you to remember this moment should you ever attempt to diminish what you've done for the Greystone program. Or should you ever think for a minute that what you've done here doesn't matter. So, all who have been touched by the contributions of William P. Crum, Colonel, United States Air Force retired, and now Greystone Chairman Emeritus, please stand and join me in a round of applause.
We could go on like that all night. Bill, I know I can speak for all of us here tonight. Know that Greystone is what it is, and we are who we are because of you. Thank you, Colonel Crum. Thank you very much for coming.